Good morning, everybody. How much do you research while you source? My name is Tim. I'm a full-time eBayer out of Northwest Montana. I do over $200,000 a year in sales from estate sales, from garage sales, from thrift stores, you name it, we're buying and selling on eBay, a little bit of Amazon too. And on this channel, we pack our orders live Monday through Thursday, every day, 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 10 o'clock on the East Coast, 7 o'clock on the West Coast. And we also talk about things in the reselling world. So if you ever want to pop in, you can come in the morning and catch the live. We talk about anything chat wants to talk about. Or today, we're talking about researching and how you research while you source. Do you research while you source? How much do you do? Do you go with more gut? All the things having to do with sourcing and research. We got over $1,000 going out today, about 20 orders. It was a really good night. We average about 12 sales a day, and so to have 20 orders going out, pretty cool. And I pulled a lot of them already, so we can just get rolling right away here. So hopefully we get a few people in the chat here this morning. And if you do pop into the chat, just throw me a hello. Let me know you're here. I love just knowing who's hanging out. So let's get rolling right away. I got to pull my screen up here. First orders out. We've got Historic McCarthy, town that copper built, about Alaska mining. If you've been following along, we just listed several $1,000s of Alaska books, and we've got a few repeat buyers that are just kind of honing in on that. I've actually told a few of them, hey, keep watching the store because we got a lot more coming. And we've got most of them listed, not all of them yet, but most of them listed. So these guys are pretty easy though. They go quick, just going in a bubble mailer, getting them out today. So how much do you research while you source? And I'll tell you what, I think it depends on what stage of the game you're in, obviously. So when you're starting out, I've noticed with a lot of resellers, when they start their journeys, they don't do as much research as they probably should in the store. It is 2026. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody can research everything. You probably should be researching more, I think. Hello, Les T. Hola. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Good to have you here. This is going out pounds, 12 by 10 by 4, and hopefully sales are going good for ST. And we've got some Keens going out today. Do a lot of these. The Chelsea boots are always good, and the Keen is all right. It's a little smaller on the size, but they'll do just fine. $24 on these guys. So I remember being new to the game, going to my first garage and estate sales, and you feel like everybody's watching you. You feel like everybody's looking at you, and that if you look something up, if you get your phone out, it's rude. And I remember that feeling. You're going around like, is this any good? I'm not sure if I should buy this. And, kind of walk to a corner and slouch down a little bit, pull your phone out, maybe look up a model number or something, and do the research. But I'll tell you what, that has definitely changed with the times. You've been to a yard sale or hosted a yard sale. Let's see, you hosted a yard sale lately. You probably see tons of people on their phones looking everything up, trying to figure out what everything is worth. And so I think that trying to be sneaky about it in 2026 doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, let's get this going. Honestly, even if you were looking something up, not like anybody could really tell that you were doing that in the first place, huh? I could be texting a friend. I could be talking to my wife. I could be doing X, Y, Z. But no, I think looking up comps is pretty normal now at sales. And so for me, I do look up a lot, but I don't look up as much as I used to. All right, we're going to double bag these guys. All right. 2 pounds. 12 by 10. Love some bread and butter key. I did finally up my shipping too. I'm actually charging $12.95 now for all of my boots and all of my shoes. I was at $11.95. Now we're at $12.95. And I'm trying to just keep that equilibrium that I will always make a little bit of money or break even rather than losing money as these USPS hikes go. So this is the first pair that's gone out with that new rate. And we'll see how much it actually hurts the sales to raise it by $1, but I don't think it's much. Everyone knows shipping's getting expensive. All right, we got some Asics here. These are women's Asics GT 1000. Heading to the Pricers, good to see you. Heading to the golf course. Don't do all this selling so my kids get anything. Hey, you got to go do all this selling so you can hit the golf course up. Good for you, Pricers. Good to have you in the chat at least for a second here. GT 1000 Asics women's. Oh, all right. These were some retail arbitrage. They've been sitting for over a year. Paid $20, sold for $45, so we're gonna make about $15 on them. Not my favorite ones to do, but it is some, you know, to make $15 on a retail arbitrage when I'm doing multi-quantity isn't too bad. The margins are a lot smaller on something like this. It took a little longer than I wanted it to, though. Definitely okay with that. I should probably run a yard sale. I've not ran a yard sale before, so I actually don't know what it's like on the selling end, watching everybody come in with their phones. But, you know, everyone's looking everything up now. Everyone can get that pricing right there real time. But I'll tell you what, if you don't have to look it up, you usually can get a better deal. Sometimes that puts people on the defensive. And being able to go with your gut or go with your knowledge is a lot better. I think new people in the game go with their gut. And they buy things that look cool. I've met a lot of people that just have so much random stuff because, oh, this looked cool. I liked it. It felt nice. Whatever your thing might be. And I think that quickly turns around into, if you want to get better at this, looking more stuff up than just going with that gut. Because you know, when you start this, you've not really developed what sells and what doesn't. 14 by 10 by 6. And for me, I was probably on the opposite end of things. I looked every single thing up when I started. I didn't take any risks. I never went with my gut. I looked every single thing up at the beginning. And of course, I can look less up now. I can look less up now because I at least can pretend I know what I'm doing. Let's see. Les T says at the thrift, it's a mad rush to throw whatever in the cart, then meet up in the back, hunched over their phone at certain values, and put half back from the cart. Yes, you're describing the bins. So Les T is in my area and is familiar with our bins here, and that is the strategy at every single bins in America. That's what you do. So I guess that sourcing at the bins is of course different than sourcing at garage and estate sales. Like, you can't do that in an estate sale, right? You can't run in, make a huge pile, and then sit there with your phone, you know, looking single thing up. Like, it doesn't work like that at estate sales. You're gonna get kicked out pretty quickly because you're preventing a lot of people from buying that stuff and just being a nuisance. But yes, at the bins, it's all fair game. That's the way it goes. So there is a lot to do with your gut. There's a lot to know at the bins still too, because you got to know what to throw in the cart. That might be good, but you know, you're more of just going off of like indicators that, hey, this might be a good thing, and so we're throwing it in the bins. So I would say at the bins, no research is done when you're first getting the things, but then all the research is done, you know, between the cycles of whatever bins you're at. This guy we took an offer for, 21 bucks, definitely gave him a great deal, but it has been listed for quite a while. I might have been on the high side, but I know they got a killer deal. Bully. This is like Grand Theft Auto, except with like a prep school. It's an interesting game if you ever played it. Tried it a couple times back in the day. Not my cup of tea, but it's a popular one. All right, 21 bucks on the game. Moving on, we got Vintage the Conquistador. Spinning Spur Brass Belt. This is actually kind of cool. I'm going to grab this guy out. I like this one. This is kind of neat. So it's like it's a belt buckle, and you got to check this out. See, the spur actually spins in there. I don't know if you can see that. That's really cool. So anyway, I don't know where I picked it up, but in it for less than $5. And we got, what did we get? 25? Feels like it could just go in a padded. I'm going to go ahead and just throw a bubble on it. Throw a little bit of bubble in there. A bubble mailer. Send this guy off. But stuff like this, you know, if I'm finding this at a yard sale and it's less than it's $5 or less, you know, it's going in the cart. But I'm actually, you know, once it gets to that $10 range, I'm probably looking this stuff up more than not. And I think that it's something that you acquire over time, old enough to kind of know what to move on and what not to. But I think it's fair to say that resellers, or at least this has been my experience, is you start the game not looking a lot up, then you quickly realize, wow, this is probably not a good strategy, just buying what I think is cool, because what I think is cool doesn't necessarily sell. And then you look everything up, and then once you've acquired the knowledge, you kind of go back to looking nothing up, because, you know, you've figured the game out. But I would encourage anybody out there that is worried about doing some field research, that it's okay. It's okay to pull your phone out. It's okay to look things up. I look just about everything up when I'm not, if I'm not 100% sure, I'm throwing it in the phone to make sure that it's a good buy. All right, we got this in for 8 ounces. That's a few bucks on the shipping. Out of here. All right, what do we got? The Patagonia Capilene pullover. This one surprised me we got that big of a price. This was one of my very early listings with the AI tools, and it priced it, like the AI priced it up. And, you know, I'm like, I'd usually sell this for like 15, 20 bucks. The women's, it's, you know, not a great, not very cool, but it is a Patagonia. And we got 35 bucks. It took about a year, but we did get 35 bucks out of it. So, you know, props to the AI's tools that told me to put it up there, because we did get the full price. Beautiful. What I like to do, though, instead of doing research on every single item, I like to do the bulk deals. I like to find, you know, one category, something that I can get a lot of product, and I know enough about maybe half of it to know that it's going to be good. And that's where I use my knowledge, and then the rest of it is a little bit of a gamble, but not really, because if I know that I'm going to double, triple up on what I've already pulled, I don't have to look the rest up. It can just be more of a gamble and moving on, because time is of the essence too. That's something that's worth considering, especially if you're an estate sale, garage sale sourcer like me. You know that you can't stay at the first sale for more than a couple minutes, because you got a lot more sales to hit. In an area like mine, it's not like everybody's spread out. In an area like mine, where there's not a lot of sales, it's the same train of about 10 people that are hitting sale after sale after sale, and they're going in the same route, because there is no other route to do. Like, there's only one optimal route, and so gotta move fast. Sometimes you don't need to look everything up. All right. I did pre-pack this guy. I had a little bit of time before the stream, and I said, what's going to be the most annoying pack? And this was it. So this is a Vitamix 3600 mixer. Not my favorite Vitamix to pick up. I've sold it one other time. The seal can go bad on it, and it's just not as popular, and it's like some kind of juicer that it's got like that spigot you can see on it. But, you know, when you're picking it up for $5 at a sale, and you're getting, I think we took an offer for $50, it's still worth it. But not my favorite Vitamix to sell by a long shot. So I already packed it up. We put bubble, we put crush, we did all the things. I feel like a baking show. Like, now we go to the pre-packed item. We go to the pre-cooked cookies. And let's grab, oops, not that window. All right. So this is going to be 16 pounds. And we've got 15 by 15 by 12. And, ooh, ground advantage is actually cheaper than UPS ground. We're going to do that then. Save $1 or $2. That's rare. Very rare that ground advantage on something like this beats out UPS. But saves me a stop, too, if I don't have any of the UPS. Pretty much any Vitamix is a good pickup. So I'll pick up just about any Vitamix, even these old ones, but you got to get in pretty cheap for these guys. They're not my, like I said, not my favorite ones to sell. If the seal goes bad, then, you know, you lose a lot of value. And this seal seemed to be okay still. Just that rubber rim around the edge. All right, we got a Hallmark ornament, a little bit of arbitrage we do. Again, I've said it many times. I get these from a liquidator, so please don't go out and buy Hallmark ornaments. They're not great. They take forever. They're low dollar, but if you get in really, really, really cheap, you can do good. And we are cheap enough that this made sense with the bulk buy we did on these guys. I think some people that don't comp items as much are probably the guys rolling over at Whatnot. We are not Whatnot sellers, but I know that they can sell a lot more without comping everything because they can just sell what's cool. There's one particular gal I know who, you know, her audience is curated to be, I guess, older people who just want vintage cool things and, you know, maybe want to hang out in a community. And, you know, what she's able to move there has everything to do with more of aesthetic and style than like looking up a one-to-one comp, maybe an old book or something. Whereas for me, I got to get an actual valuable old book to sell. She just has to have a cool one that, you know, meets the aesthetic of what her people are looking for. And I think that's true of a lot of live sellers, that they probably don't have to comp as much as we do. 9 by 6 by 3, 8 ounces. And so maybe she doesn't do, like, actually, I don't see her usually on her phone at all, comping things out because, you know, she knows what her audience is going to like. And I guess the same could be said about people who run booths or antique stores or things like that, to where maybe they can pay up on certain items because they know that those items are going to sell to their crowd, whereas they wouldn't have a chance going in an eBay store. All right. I like this one. This is a neat one. Olathe Buckaroo cowboy boots. These have the rawhide heel. I'm going to go ahead and pull these. I want to show the heel off. So these guys, I paid $50 at an estate. I'll pay up for the good boots that I know are going to sell. Pretty decent condition. The stitching is good. The leather is good. And this is what sells them right here. You can knock on that. This is just a rawhide heel. And whenever the boots have a rawhide heel like that, they can sell for really good money. Whether it's Tony Lama, Justin, Olathe, it doesn't really matter the brand. People are looking for that rawhide heel because it's cool, because it's a little unique, and you know it's also firm on the heel. It holds the foot in really well. So these guys got a $155 offer, and we took it. 50 into 150 is where I like to sit. After the fees, you know, we'll make around $70, $60. And they went quick. They went really quick. We priced them right. They went in about a day or two. But I don't think we've underpriced them. You know, looking at the comps for stuff with the rawhide heel, it's about that same range, about 125 to 180, somewhere in there. Happy with these guys. These are exactly the range I like to be in. You know, I like to have higher dollar sales. I like to sell really good stuff, and I like to pay up a little bit for it. You know, like if I can sell something for 150 and I can pick it up for 50, that's where I like to sit. I don't like trying to play the game all the time of like, I'm gonna buy your items for pennies. we sell it for, you know, sell it for a ton. I like to be able to give them a good price for a good product. If I could just do these kind of flips all day, it'd be beautiful business. All right, we're gonna make it look pretty. We're gonna crush all the way around. A little bit of bubble in there. Now, would I have rather paid $1 for them? Sure. Who wouldn't want to pay a $150 pair of boots? Pay up a little bit if you're going to get a good thing. And did I look these up at the sale? Yes, I 100% looked them up at the sale. I did a quick, you have to Terapeek it because the eBay is not going to show you, they're rare, you know, you're not going to see what sells exactly in 3 months because they might not come around every 3 months. So you got to hit the Terapeek up, get the 3 years of data, do rawhide Olathe or rawhide, you know, boot, heel or whatever. And, you know, you'll find the comps pretty quickly and see that it works. And, you know, I've sold them before. I've sold rawhide heels before, so I knew that they would be good on the eBay. Get over $100. 20 by 14 by 6, 7 pounds. Calculated it perfect. And where are we at? All right, we got a lot of books coming up. I think we had a few international buyers, a few repeat buyers that have been scouting these books. So it's going to be a rapid fire book sequence here. I'm going to just grab this stack. Oh, because I think all of these are back to back. I'm going to grab a few of these envelopes. Be able to rapid fire through these. Pretty much all my books go in the same padded. This number 4 padded mailer does wonders, and then I tape the corners up, make sure it stays waterproof, because you got the bubble in there, so it does have the moisture barrier for people. The Pistol Shooter's Treasury. Any books about reloading, guns, that kind of stuff, usually worth looking into. And we got 15 bucks out of that guy. And books are another thing that you pretty much have to look every single thing up. You know, when you're sourcing books, if you can get in cheap, and I mean, like, if you're at bins prices or like $1 at a garage sale, 50 cents at a garage sale, sure, take some risks here and there. But, you know, books are really in 2 categories. They either sell well or they don't sell at all. Like, it's hard to find that middle. There's really not a middle ground of like bread and butter books. Like, people are either looking for them or they're not. So unless you want to sit on them for literally years, kind of got to look them all up. And eventually you do find them that you know, I've sold this title before, I've sold that title before, or this author before, that, the other. But I am pretty much looking up, hard lookuping. When I say hard, like a hard lookup, I mean, I'm not just using the ISBN because maybe it doesn't have an ISBN, but pretty much every book that I can't ISBN that looks like it fits the realm of possibility, I am looking up. Gunstock Finishing and Care. Another one about guns. And I look up all the gun books. See, if my whole business was books, I could just sit. I could just sit here, in fact. I wouldn't have to get up and go down and get boxes and move around, but I chose the hard life. I chose the hard life of selling everything, and so I have to pack things. All right, 12 by 10 by 4 and 2. And thinking about sales and looking stuff up at sales, I will actually look stuff up with the host of a sale. I've done that. I don't know if you've ever done that move before, but they'll literally say, like, you know, well, what do you want? What do you want for it? And you know that they're going to look everything up anyway. And you're like, well, here, you know, I sell on eBay. I'd love to be able to make some money off this, but let's see what it sells for. And you show them your phone, show them what it sells for, and you say, you know, for me, for it to be worth my time, like, I'd really have to get it at this price because of the shipping, the fees, this, that, and the other. You know, if you could help me out, I'd love to be, you know, get it for this, because this is what it sells for. You literally just show them. And that's worked for me many times, you know, because people, you know, generally they don't want to deal with the eBay thing, because then the follow-up conversation is usually, you know, hey, I'm going to get a smaller envelope for this. The follow-up conversation is usually like, hey, you know, you should sell it on eBay yourself. You actually tell them that. You say, yeah, like, you know, you get on. This is how you do it. You go here. You make sure you have the right supplies. Make sure you have the scale, because you want to make sure you're using it right. If it's under a pound, send it through USPS. You know, if it gets big, make sure you send UPS or FedEx. That's usually the better rate. Like, I will literally sit there. I will walk someone through how to sell their item on eBay. Because guess what? They're not going to do it. And, you know, half the time, once you have that conversation, then your, you know, $20 offer on a $60 item looks pretty darn good. And so you're usually, for me, it's actually helped out quite a few times looking it up with the person at the sale. If you've watched long enough, you've learned I am not sneaky. I'm not sneaky about what I do. I am not. I am very upfront with people. Like, this is what I do. I'm really good at it, and I want to help you out. So, for anybody still on the fence about researching in the field, I hope you research in the field. Please don't buy random crap that you don't need. You need to figure out what you're buying, figure out what you're doing. Everybody's got the breadth of the internet at their fingertips these days. You should. Trout by Ray Bergman. I don't know, some book about trout. Like I said, we got a lot of books back to back because we just listed literally hundreds of books back to back over the last few days. Fly fishing. Yeah, so any books too about fishing, fly fishing, hunting, outdoors, which, you know, we get a lot of them up here. Always worth looking up, always worth looking into. And we got, I think, full price on this guy, $18. I mentioned it in the last stream. There's a mountain goat book that goes for about $300-400 that I'm really excited about. I just got to wait for the right buyer. I've had one guy try to get it for $80 from me. I'm like, come on, guy. You know what this is worth. But yeah, some of these outdoor books can be really good. Specifically if they're like about exotic hunting. A lot of them, like African hunting, safari kind of stuff, do really well. 12 by 10 by 4 in the trout book. Even on the shipping. I am not buying books about trout that just look cool, thinking I'm going to get $18 out of them. Yes, we looked this one up. I like to go to Terra Peak. I'll just put the title, then the last name of the author, and search, and, you know, scroll through, kind of see what's there. Usually you can get a good idea even in the field. Let's see, Killing Waters. This is a book about the Great West Virginia Flood. So a lot of these I had in that $10 to $12 range that were just small ones that, I guess, bread and butter, you could say. Sometimes these can take a while to sell, so I'm glad to see a lot of these heading out quickly from the store. Get another envelope for that guy. There's one particular flood book. So speaking of flood books, this is from Virginia. Natural disaster books can be good. There's one particular one in the valley here where I'm at that does pretty good. I've found it a couple times now and sold it once to an acquaintance, another reseller. And, you know, just because he was looking for a copy. And then I think I sold the other one for $100 or something. So I'm always on the lookout for these disaster books. They got the interesting photos. They got good history. 1985. All right, carrying on with the book train. We had 20 orders today. I want to say over half of them were books, thanks to what we're listing. The Age of Orion. Age of Orion. That was an old computer game, too. Anybody who knows. The Age of Orion, the Lockheed P3 story by David Reed. Military can be okay, but it's usually the nonfiction military, and usually not. Now, you're not looking for Time Life or classics or the anthology of trains or what, or you're not train, like planes or anthology of this, that, and the other. Like, you want stuff from the source, from the people, maybe from officers, stuff like that. These can do pretty good. Got 15 bucks on that one. Heading out here. I'm going to put this in one of my larger cardboard mailers because it doesn't fit my biggest poly or craft mailer, I should say. Tape the corners up, and I actually like to tape the whole thing. I've had these bust at the seams before, but it sure beats putting each one in a box, that's for sure. I have a box of Amazon. I don't know if you can see my box of Amazon stuff going out today. I send about, trying to send 2 boxes a month. Last month we got 4 boxes out to Amazon. It's been a little nice supplemental to the eBay. I think we do 30,000 or so in sales on Amazon every year, so it's a little extra to the sales. 4 pounds. We're going to lose a little bit on the shipping because I blanketed the shipping. But medium mail doesn't really matter, only losing $1 or $2. Out. Oh, another nice one. 2 sales for about $100 today. The Jimmy Johnson jacket. This was at a estate, not an estate. Was it an estate? It was a garage sale. I think this was just a garage sale. Some guy's cleaning out his collection. I think I got in for $10, $15, and it's been sitting for a while. This was listed in November. But, you know, I'll wait for $100. You're in it for $10 or $15. So I'm always looking for the racing, the jackets and stuff. Don't fall for like the Earnhardt, just mass-produced junk. There's so much mass-produced NASCAR kind of stuff. But these nicer jackets can do okay, but they do take a little bit of time. Let me double check, make sure. I have like 1 or 2 more. I want to make sure this is the right one. There she is. It's a pretty one. 48 lows. All the markings match. It's XL. Yep, this is it. I had about 3 or 4 different styles when I bought this guy out, and I want to say it was $15 a piece. What I ended up paying for these. Sold for $100. And you better believe I looked it up at the sale. I do a lot of field research. This guy break into a new envelope pack, I believe. I guess it's fair to say my strategy is to be dangerous enough to know like what might be valuable in every category, and then from there we look a lot of things up and make sure that we're right before we purchase it, because I can't afford to be buying stuff that has no chance of selling. For me, I do a lot of field research. Now, sometimes time is of the essence, and you just got to make a decision, because if you don't move on it, someone else is going to move on it. And in the case like of the bins, it doesn't really matter. You just throw it in your cart. But in the case of like an estate, you don't really have that option, because, you know, if you're waffling, someone else is going to buy that thing. So sometimes you have to make that gut decision. And that gut decision over time is less of a gut decision and more of an informed decision. Some days I just feel like gambling. I think resellers are probably all a little bit of gamblers on the side, you know, like it's a way to get a free fix of gambling, you know, without really having risk. And so every once in a while, you know, I'll buy that big old lot of whatever that I know nothing about and learn a little bit about it, you know. I know we've had people in the chat before say it's a easy learning opportunity, a cheap learning opportunity, 15 by 12 by 6, a cheap education, if you will. By 12 by 6. Did good on that one. Did good on that one. I can't say before these jackets I sold a lot of NASCAR stuff. interesting name. I believe it's going to their mother because the name is Mom. Okay, it's going to someone's mom at that address. All right, what do we got now? Oh, this is a little random. So these I paid $5 a piece, and I just honestly didn't want to split them up and wait and do the work. And so we just did 20 into 50 and just got rid of them all at once. They're a hard size to sell. The 40 by 30s, you know, that's gonna sit for a little bit because that's a tough size. It's not like it's a 34 by 30 or something like that. Maybe a little more common size for guys. And I think we're gonna fit these in a 12-10 8 box. I'm gonna box them up because they're not gonna fit my largest poly. Yeah, I don't like doing clothing. I really don't. But I can't pass it up when it's a stack of 501s for $5 a piece. I'm just going to pick them up, lot them up, move them out. And this would be an example of something at a sale that I don't have to look. And I think that people who are looking up 501s, if you're doing the field research, you're going to be wrong half the time too, because, you know, there's a big difference between modern 501s that are made in China and, you know, mass produced and are now hitting Costco, and, you know, vintage selvage 501s that can sell for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, you know, for the right Levi's. And so your field research might be a little muddy on these guys anyway. Basically, any 501s, if they're $5 or less, I'm picking them up. That'll work. And for those who don't know, the 501 is the button fly. So instead of a zipper, it has a bunch of buttons. And people still like them today. Whether they're actually tradesmen using them or people that just want to look cool. All right. 12 by 10 by 8. 8 pounds. But yes, just like the 501s can lead you astray if you find the wrong ones, it is very easy also to field research and find poor information and make a bad decision, which has happened to me more times than I'd probably care to admit. Where you do a quick search and you realize, oh, like, I don't know, for me in books, it commonly is like, oh man, this book is worth like $200. And then you get back and you realize, like, in your quick little search, wait, that was a signed first edition or something, you know, and then now you've got this book that's worth nothing that could have been something you just left behind. Homesteading Our Heritage, North Valley County. So these genealogy books, these history books relative to locations are always good. Homesteading is good, and, you know, when you cross those two realms over, good money. So this guy sold for $88. And it sold pretty much instantly. Maybe it was a little undervalued. I'm not really sure. But I am completely fine getting the money and moving on. We're going to box this one up. Probably go into this guy. All right, 14, 10, 6. But I'm always on the lookout for these guys. The homesteading books are incredible. The history location books are incredible. I even went to a sale recently and found a nice genealogy book, a nice location-specific book that, you know, I was like, wow, this is cool. And then, you know, the person running the sale was like, oh, sorry, that one's not for sale. Some people, tell you what. I don't know if Leslie is still in the room, but I'm poking fun at her. That was her sale. And I was very happy. I was very happy to tell her, oh yes, you know, this is a good one. You should sell it because those ones do really well. I was not upset in the slightest. All right, let's see. We're going to crush all the way around this. I could cut the box down, but that's too much work, and I'm being lazy, so I'm just going to crush the whole thing. Okay. That's going to be way too much crush. Oh, well. Not too bad, actually, on the big book. Beautiful. I know we're going to lose a little bit of money on the shipping because I calculate these all so low, my bulk lister, but shouldn't matter at an $80 phone. Good to go. So we did take an offer on that. That was actually a $75 offer. Not too bad, though, on the genealogy book. The next one, I believe, was a lot of sales. Someone bought 3 books, and they're going international, so they put them all together so that they can just pay the one international fee, which is pretty big, so I know that that will save them a little bit of money. We got Railroad in the Clouds. We've got Alaska Earthquake, another natural disaster book. This one didn't have any comps, I'm pretty sure, and so I made a price up. And I guess the price was good. So 48 bucks we got in a few days. We got 25, 48, and another 25. So around $100 worth of books going in one package for this person. And I did pull these already. We'll definitely box them up for this guy. And they are going international. I'm not really sure where, but they are going international. So I said when I started listing these books that it is very vital that I get them all up at the same time. And this is exactly why. Because once people smell it, that they're like, oh, you got a lot of these coming. Like, you got a lot of these in your store. You're gonna get a lot of multi-quantity sales like this. And this is not the first one I've had on the Alaska lots of multi-quantity. Because sometimes that's all it takes is you find one good buyer. They'll clean you out of a lot of the stuff you got. I got a text from my wife that I did forget to help her out. My wife is a teacher, and she's making pizza for her kiddos today. Such a nice teacher. I wish I had a teacher like her back in the day. I did. I had some great teachers. But anyway, she's making pizza with the kids to talk about fractions. And I was supposed to bring flour when I dropped the kids off, and I totally forgot. So I got to do that right after this. Hopefully she didn't need it first thing, which I'd imagine she had a little bit of time because pizza doesn't take long and lunch is a ways away. Random tangent. All right. Crush the top of these. But I guess in the end, even if you make some bad buys out there, it's really hard to go wrong. Because if you're willing to pay, whatever amount for an item, I think might be good. Probably are going to be able to unload it somebody else close to the same price, even if it wasn't the best buy. Media mail. I don't love doing media mail on a $100 order. Bump it up. We're going to bump this to ground advantage for them, even though it's going international. Pounds, 12 by 10 by 4. Grab that. That'll give us the insurance, and it only costs like another $1. We bumped it up to ground advantage for them. It'll get to the hub a little sooner. It'll get that over to them a little sooner, and everybody will be happy. All right, those 3 are done, and we're on to some boots. Then shearling tall clog boots for women, size 42, Euro sizing. This is an oddball one. I mean, I picked it up. The comps were all over the place, and it looks like it was a slow mover, but it moved way faster than I thought it would. Only took like a month and a half here to sell, and got an offer for $30-something. So very happy to have that and to move you guys out. If they're not more than 14 inches, I want to get them in my smaller box. I think they might just go in one of these. Trying to use these boxes up right over here. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to throw them in a box because, they're in the nice leather. I don't want to get too creased up on that for them. I've never sold these before. Sven shearling boots. They were cool. They had this like wooden clog kind of feel to them. I said, let's give them a look up. I looked them up on the Terapeak because eBay had nothing. And, $30. I do believe this was a bins. So I don't think I'm in this for much. I wouldn't pay, just because I don't know about these things. I probably wouldn't even pay more than $10 for a pair. I'm not too familiar with them. And, 10 to 30 is probably right where you want to be anyway. All right. Beautiful. At the size I think it is. Okay, it is 16 by 12 by 8. Stays in a cubic foot. I do stock some of them that are 16 by 12 by 10, and sometimes I have to be careful because if I put them in the wrong one, it's into cubic pricing, which is no bueno. All right, we're at 4 pounds. Heading out of here. I'm really glad I pre-packed or pre-pulled some of these things because 20 orders is no joke on a Tuesday. This is like a Monday. We're used to this on a Monday, but man, this is good. This is good. We like having a lot of sales to have to deal with. It's a good problem to have. So I would like to hear from anybody out there. If you're watching the replay, let me know. How much do you field research? Do you look stuff up? Do you look stuff up at the garage sale? Do you like to slink away to a corner and try to look things up? Or are you just the kind of person like me who says, hey, whoever's running this sale, look, I can sell this for $50. Could you do 20? Could you do 20? Because I got to make a little bit of money. And honestly, that's worked for me more than it's not worked for me. To just be real with people and be authentic with what you're doing. But probably not the best for every circumstance. You got to be able to read the room. So anyway, that is it for me today. I hope you guys picked something up. Maybe you can pick up in the future. You learned something. Maybe hopefully it was helpful for somebody out there. We're going to keep doing these things as long as it's helpful for at least one person, and I'm enjoying it. And each of those things continue to be true. And so we'll be back here tomorrow with some more sales. Give the channel a like, give it a subscribe. Just click that button that says subscribe because it'll push more content for you of the same and really help me out. So that'd be really the only thing I'll probably ever ask you guys is just to hit that subscribe button. Would be super helpful for me. With that, I hope you have a beautiful day. I got to get these sales out and I got to get that flour to my wife so I don't get in trouble. See you, everybody.